Lord.
Here we go.
No, please don't do Lamar like that. Lamar
If let me tell you something. If Lamar thinks it's bad in Baltimore,
yeah,
come to Atlanta like that. You know,
Lamar, if you want a Super Bowl, don't come down here, brother.
Not yet.
No. You gonna be rich, but don't come down here. No.
All right, we live, y'all. Hang on.
But Baltimore didn't pay that man. But they messed around, pay that man.
It's funny, man, because they're admitting, oh, he's worth every penny, you know, and they
lied on him. And then talking about Lamar said, I ain't having no guarantee. I ain't having no guaranteed contract. So why they out there put stuff out there like that if he ain't do it?
It's amazing, man. How are you there?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
All right, hang on, man.
Pay the brother. Get the man his money. Get the man his money. Cause Joe Burrow gonna get his. There
you go. Don't be dancing in that internet. Jump off. Turn off.
Make it rain. Make it rain. Make it rain.
Ain't got nothing to do with the internet.
Make it rain.
My feet ain't nowhere near the wire. I don't know why I went off. That was AT&T.
Hey, Tanya B. Vi lives in that area where you got to be still to get the internet.
With a coat hanger, a paper clip, and a piece of gum.
Don't move, baby. Hey, don't move.
I stay with the white people. I'm in a good area.
Here we go. Mr. Dilbert.
Okay.
I ain't saying I'm
Don Lemon.
I have white labels.
They gonna get you, man.
They gonna get me.
Black Twitter.
They coming.
They're coming. Don't come for me.
Unless I send for you. Hey, Howie.
Hey, Tanya B, how you doing?
Look at Howie trying to go deep on y'all.
What's up?
Hey. All right, here we go, y'all. 3, 2, 1. Hey, what's up, y'all? This is the G Podcast, episode 165. Yes. Heading up out of Black History Month 2023. Tanya B is here, Vi is here, and y'all, President Carter is still here. So don't be, let not your heart be troubled. He is still here. I don't know Tanya B. Don't worry about it. But anyway, go ahead, and just keep rolling. Keep skipping and singing along. President Carter is okay. He's in hospice. Because last show we didn't mention it, so people were like, you didn't mention. We had a lot of stuff going on. Plus, in our area, part of the country, man. I mean, he's gone through a lot as a president at his age. I mean, I remember, he fell down. There's always something going on. So it's like, okay, he's gonna make it through. He may not make it through this hospice, but at least it is what it is. He's lived a great life. Am I wrong in saying that? He's a fighter.
He is a fighter and the oldest living president, and we just wish him, all the best, and may his days, whether they be final or extended, just be comfortable and be, he's around his family. What else can you do?
Absolutely. Somebody said, "Hey, man, wow, it's amazing. I hope the world doesn't." People aren't really, I guess, in a negative state, because I said, President Carter is like the longest living president in history.
Yes, in history.
He's old enough to be Barack Obama's great grandfather, and he's old enough to be Clinton's grandfather. So, he's lived a long life. Am I right? Why you laughing?
Yeah, you're right.
Lived a long life.
Yeah, he's lived a long life. So, again, yes, very much so. Planted
keep
in
eating
the
peanuts.
90s. Absolutely.
Keep eating peanuts.
Make you want to eat peanuts.
Yeah,
But anyway,
you live
y'all,
a long life.
Yes, you do. Episode 165. This is the G Podcast. Tommy B's in the building. And you know what, Coach Art, I don't know if Coach Art and I are responsible for the Hawks letting Nate McMillan go, but we sure hell tried. We put the effort in last episode.
It's
we sent a
Vi's
message.
Yeah. Vi did it.
Shame on y'all get that black man fired.
Look, let me tell you, I bought just for this, because you said that. Howie the Hitman, who, Howie has been on the show before. Got to give it up to Howie. How are you there, man?
Oh, yeah. How you all doing?
Make sure, man. Don't try to go Barry White on me. We got to hear you, bro. So. yeah. But Howie the Hitman is here. And I wanted some insight from Howie, man, on this situation, because it's weird, because nobody ever talks about the Hawks outside of it, when it comes down to the national shows, like, when you watch ESPN, Get Up, NBA Today, Undisputed, nobody really focuses. But all of a sudden, Nate McMillan gets fired, and it's another black man getting fired. But what people don't understand, if you follow the Hawks and you've been watching the Hawks all season, am I incorrect by saying this, that Nate got himself fired, Howie?
I agree. Yeah, I think Nate couldn't connect with these younger guys, man. And Nate is an old school coach. He wanted to do it his way. His rotation is not, best player play. It's okay. You're 10 or 15 minutes. Time for you to come in. Okay, next, regardless of how you're playing, it's time to bring the next guy in. And I think the league has kind of moved away from that. It's whoever the best player, who's in the groove at the time, we leave him on the floor and let him play. But Nate. I don't think it had anything to do with color at all. And I'm not sure who said that. I think Stephen A. may have brought that up. But
Stephen A. And what's his name out of Philadelphia? Tanya, you and I were both talking about the
Mark Lamont Hill.
Mark Lamont Hill, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's way out of bounds right there.
Vi, what do you say, Vi? Go ahead.
The ex-Celtic player, the big dude.
Oh, Kendrick Perkins? Oh,
yeah,
please.
Kendrick said it too.
But you know what? Here's the deal. Again, we're talking about guys who never give us our props regardless. I live in Atlanta, and for the folks who are Hawks fans, who listen to every game, who are watching every game, it was easy to see that either he was losing interest in the team or the team had lost interest in him. So I'm excited. And as a matter of fact, and people know this is what happened when they got rid of Lloyd Pierce. They went on a winning streak. So after post Nate McMillan, the Hawks are 2-0. So, so give it up. So, they look a whole lot better. The energy's there. I'm not sure how long it's going to last, but the bottom line is the coach that they're looking at, and I want your opinion on Quinn Snyder, Howie, because again, I brought Howie on because Howie, Vi, myself, and Coach Art, we do the Leftover Sports podcast occasionally during the holidays. And Howie, what's your opinion of Quinn Snyder?
I think Quinn Snyder is probably the best person out there, out of the coaches they're looking at. I know a couple of guys we know is the guy out of Boston, Emmy, a couple of younger guys who are assistants right now. But the thing about Quinn Snyder is he's a developer. I think he can take a young team like ours that don't really have a true elder statesman, if you will, and he can develop these guys and teach them how to play. And I think that's what the Hawks missing. They're missing that one guy who's been around long enough to say, hey, I'm not talking about playing basketball. I'm talking about teaching them how to be a part of a professional basketball team. So that's some things on the court, some things off the court, what you say to the media. That's what I think we're lacking. And I think Quinn Snyder can bring that and connect with these younger guys and say, hey, listen, we're young, but this is how we do it on the floor. And then when you go home, this is how we do it. When you go out and hang out with your buddies, this is how you do it. That way we're not bringing any negativity into the locker room or any outside influence into the locker room. And I think that'll help us gel a little bit more.
I agree. And I don't want to get into some of the local media. I'm going to wait until the end of the show to address the local media. I thought it was unfair for them to require that, certain players be leaders. And I'm going to say this as a former player of the game, had a few coaches, played most of my life. Not every star on a team is a leader. As a matter of fact, there are a lot of people who are superstars on a team who contribute on the court, but they're not always leaders. A lot of your leaders on a basketball team, and in some cases, it's just like when you look at Golden State, people think more so when they think of somebody who's a leader who's making noise, they might say Steve Curry, but really and truly, Draymond Green is the one pushing the narrative and fighting for the team off the court. So I'm just going to say that, and I'll leave it alone. We'll talk about media, because I got to get a couple of things before, to get your insight on this, Howie. NBA All-Star game, man. And, we're in the midst of NBA, NFL season's over. Baseball's about to start. I don't know what the XFL.
March Madness.
Yeah, March Madness. You got March Madness around the corner. The XFL, I don't know what that is, Rock. You're going to have to explain. But anyway.
Real football.
But anyway.
They like
but dude, I just, we'll see what that is, if that can hang around, if it even stays. But insight into NBA All-Star game, lowest ratings in 20 years. It started off okay. If you watch the NFL, I mean, the what do you call it? The skills contest was okay. The slam dunk contest had
that twist. Was a big thing.
Yeah, because you had, the white guy who apparently can jump. Mac McClung.
Mac can jump, yeah.
But the game was horrible. No competition, basically no defense. Everybody shooting threes and dunking. It was
they probably were just playing, right?
They were just like, it was like, how do you
street
call
ball?
it?
They were street balling.
It was just all they were doing was basically just shooting layups, but the look of it wasn't competitive. So what do you say about the NBA All-Star game, Howie? It just happened. Should they continue, man, with this?
Well, I think they have to have some type of incentive. Didn't baseball go to an incentive? Whoever wins get home field advantage to play in the World Series. I don't think there's any incentive to win the NBA All-Star game.
That's a good point.
Yeah, they tricked it out a little bit by let certain players draft their own team, and it's not necessarily East versus West. In a sense, but I can draft my own guys, but there is no incentive to win. Everybody get their bonus money. Nobody wants to get hurt.
Yep.
And so it's like, let's just have a good time. And back in the day, well, I say back in the day, in the 80s and 90s, these guys were competitive. I mean, if they were just drinking beer, they were competitive at it. So when they got on the floor, they were equally competitive. Now, these guys are about, hey, I want to survive. I want to make my money. I don't want to get hurt in this game. Yep. And there is no competition at all.
It's horrible. I mean, all it is a it's like a demonstration game.
It's a money bag. It's a money bag for the NBA. That's really all it is. There's would you say there's no structure? I mean, like it was so to me, and I know we got to move forward, but for me, usually, you look at it just kind of for the hang and whatever. It's like, I forgot the game was on. And then when I remembered it was on, it was almost over. And I was like, oh, well, I guess I'll see the score later. That excitement that was the excitement that used to come with it. Would you agree? Yeah. It wasn't, or it isn't there.
No, it's gone. I mean, I will tell you, I'm a child of the 70s. All of us grew up in the 70s, and we remember how hard fought those All-Star games were. And the thing that bothers me about the new All-Star game is they're still really erasing the records. So if players are getting points above, then it erases the records from the guys who play competitively in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. I just don't think that's fair, because they're not really playing. You understand? Does that make sense?
They're playing around. They're playing around.
They're playing around. So
just get rid of the game and make more skills contests or something.
Yeah, that's what I would do. But the NFL Pro Bowl tanked too. I don't know if people really want to see these
too, right?
Battle of the Network Stars looking games. It's just like,
you went there.
I don't know if they want to see that. So anyway,
just done it for the money. Just get rid of it.
But I think that's a good idea, Howard. Howie, when it comes down to it, man, why not just say, look, the winner, and just I believe in going back to East-West. These, I never was a fan of allowing these guys to pick their team. I mean, I'm a fan of East-West, and then give the incentive to the team or the side. I think that's probably the best way to do it. Incentivize them to the point where it helps them in the playoffs, maybe. But yeah, I'm with you on that.
Right. Yeah.
One more thing, man, and I'm gonna let you go, Howie. Lamar Jackson, man. What's your prediction?
I think he's going to stay where he is, man. Just think they built their whole team around Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
Now they've brought Todd Monken in there, who I think is very creative and can use the tools that he have. And I don't think anybody else should, especially the Falcons, should throw that much money after one person and mess up what they're trying to build. One person's not going to take us to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I agree.
Get Lamar, you got to get money and draft picks.
Yeah, because I'm telling you, for Lamar's sake, why go back into another Baltimore? Why go back? Why go jump back into a situation where you don't have your tools around you? That's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. Howie, man, any other thoughts, man, about what's going on, what you're seeing?
Oh, well, I mean, hey, I just want to say I appreciate you all like all the time. I can't wait to listen to it. And Miss Tanya B, I'm going to definitely cook something that you send me soon here. I'm an empty nester, so my wife and I are usually going out to eat. We're not cooking too much nowadays. But hey, man, just keep these the Syria people in your thoughts, and then the Ukraine people in your thoughts. That's a mess over there, man. I know we're not in church or anything, but man, just keep those people in your thoughts. All right. And I appreciate you having me on today.
Hey, well, let me ask you, man, because we're gonna get into that after news. We'll go to news in just a second. Howard. But I do want to ask you. You're on the phone, Tanya B. I got, you know what I'm saying. We'll get him in here for a full show later. But what I'm saying, like with Ukraine, do you think Biden's too deep into Ukraine?
No. So I've had a couple of conversations with some people I really respect, and they seem to think we're sending too much money over there. We cannot, we being a country, the United States and definitely NATO, cannot allow Russian to just say or willy-nilly start taking over property, man. It's not eminent domain over there for another country. You just can't say, okay, and we have to do something. And I don't think we should send people. I don't think we should send our young men and women over to fight over there. Absolutely not. But absolutely, we have to continue to support them in any way we can, militarily, financially, and then we got to go over and help rebuild that country, man. It's going to be a mess over there for a long time. Okay. And we have to be a part of the rebuild. All right,
I got you. Appreciate you, man. Let me give it up for Howie, Hitman.
Howie.
Good stuff.
I appreciate you. Y'all Lakers won one. All right, I'm gonna let y'all go, man.
Hey, man. All right,
my Celtics won one. Thank you, Howie.
Oh, yeah. All right. I got you.
Appreciate you, Howie. Appreciate you.
All right, talk to you all later now.
All right, bye.
All right, thanks.
All right, y'all. Appreciate it again, Howie. Appreciate you jumping on. Hey, let's go ahead and do news with Syracuse Mike, and we'll jump right back in. And we got a lot to discuss on the news side, so we'll be right back. Here we go.
News team, assemble!
It's time for the Week in News with Syracuse Mike.
The end of this week marks the one-year anniversary of the war in Ukraine. On ABC's This Week, South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham says it's time for the U.S. to get tougher by supplying F-16s.
I believe a decision would be imminent here when we get back to Washington, that the administration will start training Ukrainian pilots on the F-16. They need the weapon system.
According to Politico, last week, 5 members of the House argued that providing the jets could tip the scales in Ukraine's favor. President Biden made a surprise visit to Ukraine Monday to show the world, including the American public, that the U.S. is committed to helping that country. This is the first presidential trip to a war zone in which the U.S. did not have a military presence. Russia's war with Ukraine is nearing the 1-year mark. Here's the president.
That dark night, 1 year ago, the world was literally at the time bracing for the fall of Kyiv. Seems like a lot longer ago than a year, but think back to that year. Perhaps even the end of Ukraine.
The president also promised $500 million in additional military aid, which will include javelins, howitzers, and artillery ammunition. There was no word on those requested F-16s. In Poland Tuesday, President Biden said the U.S. will continue to support Ukraine, while he also focused on the failures of Russian President Vladimir Putin.
He still doubts our conviction. He doubts our staying power. He doubts our continued support for Ukraine. He doubts whether NATO can remain unified.
On the same day in Russia, Putin delivered something similar to a State of the Union address, where he blamed the West for starting the war in Ukraine. He announced that Russia would suspend the New START nuclear treaty with the U.S. and promised there would be a new fund to help those who had lost loved ones in what he almost always calls Russia's special military operation in Ukraine. The U.S. Supreme Court heard oral arguments Tuesday from lawyers representing Google, the Department of Justice, and the family of a 23-year-old American woman killed in Paris by terrorists in 2015. The family of the woman argues that Google acted as a recruiting platform for the Islamic State by recommending Islamic State-related videos through its algorithms on YouTube.
They just send you stuff. It's no different than if they were sending you emails. That's affirmative conduct.
That's the family's attorney, Eric Schnapper. Some legal analysts believe the court will probably side with Google in this matter. In sports, the Atlanta Hawks have fired head coach Nate McMillan. A lot was expected from the team this season. The Hawks currently rank 8th in the Eastern Conference with a 29-30 record. Star player Trae Young and McMillan also had their issues, but reportedly worked things out. Wednesday, the man convicted of killing hip-hop artist Nipsey Hussle was sentenced by a judge to 60 years to life in prison. Eric R. Holder Jr. was found guilty of the 2019 first-degree murder and was convicted on 2 counts of attempted voluntary manslaughter and possession of a firearm. Although Holder pleaded not guilty to first-degree murder, he never denied that he killed Hussle. Nipsey Hussle was known as Neighborhood Nip in his Los Angeles community and was a Grammy winner who dedicated his life to lifting up Crenshaw, where he grew up, and also owns several businesses. While the community of East Palestine, Ohio struggles in the aftermath of the recent toxic train derailment, the area has also become a political target.
We've been getting our news from the real news and from the fake news.
That's former President Donald Trump, who came to the area Wednesday. Democrats are taking advantage of Trump's visit to the site by focusing new attention on the former president's record of rolling back regulations on both rail safety and hazardous chemicals. Even Trump was a bit restrained.
They could have been 2 weeks earlier, or at least a week earlier. I guess it came from the top.
A comment there about the response by the current administration. A judge sentenced R. Kelly to another 20 years in prison for a different set of sex crimes, including several child pornography charges. 19 years will be served concurrently with his existing prison time. That means just 1 year gets added to the end of his 30-year sentence. In September, Kelly was found guilty on 3 counts of child pornography and 3 counts of child enticement, while being acquitted of a 4th pornography count and a conspiracy case tied to a trial in 2008. Disgraced Hollywood producer Harvey Weinstein was also sentenced to 16 years in prison. That time gets added to the 23 years he's already serving as a result of sexual assault allegations that started the Me Too movement. The jury found Weinstein guilty of rape and sexual assault in December for his 2nd criminal trial. In sports, the Atlanta Hawks management is now talking about the decision to fire head coach Nate McMillan.
Felt like this was the time to make a change. And that was the sense that I've gotten, something that I've read on, and this was my decision.
That's GM Landry Fields. Assistant Joe Prunty has taken over as Atlanta's interim head coach. And Brittany Griner has signed a new 1-year deal to continue playing with the WNBA's Phoenix Mercury. Democrat Jennifer McClellan easily won a special election in Virginia to become the state's first black woman in Congress. After she is sworn in, there will be a record 28 black women in the House of Representatives.
Congratulations. Yes. Good stuff.
Black history.
Women, man, doing their thing in Congress. Yes, you got to give it up for them.
Yeah, hey, Black history.
Black history. Definitely Black history. Black future. Black now.
Black we need it. Okay. No.
Yeah, absolutely. And, speaking of we need it, it's really sad. I mean, it's tough to report politics, in these days. And we spend a lot of time kind of mixing it up on the show because you got to deal with people like Marjorie Taylor Greene. And the amazing thing is when I hear her talk, I say, damn, this lady's in Georgia. I feel bad for her district, for Dalton and Rome, because
but they voted her ass in.
Yeah, they did. But every time she opens her damn mouth, it's never anything.
It's almost like how you would cringe when Trump would open his mouth.
It's like, yeah, but he was the president. You know what I'm saying? But for her to get on this thing about Civil War, it's just like I tell you what. Why don't you take Rome and Dalton and your district out of Georgia if y'all want to make y'all want to create secede from the Union, You know, Georgia, we going to Atlanta, you know, the rest of Georgia, we'll stay where we are and y'all secede. Do whatever you want to do. But it's just really, I mean, you know, I feel bad for the people who did not vote for her, who can see through the cult, you know, the cult of
she's
personality.
Embarrassing.
You know,
she's embarrassing to women.
Yeah,
across the board, really.
I you know, as a woman, you know, but I tend to, to humanity. Sometimes I read that
to the world,
to the world.
We keep voting in, though, don't we?
Keep voting.
No,
in.
they can, yeah. Look, she's not coming to my neighborhood, and I know she's not coming to your neighborhood. So.
Nope. Hey, Vi, I want to ask you a question, man. Do you think I asked Howie? Do you think Biden spending too much time in Ukraine or with Ukraine?
No.
You think
we got to help them out? We can't act like we're an island on our own. The same thing happened like in World War II.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if we let them do what they're gonna do, eventually they're gonna come over here at us.
That's true.
So we got to do something.
But who else is anyone else helping Ukraine more than the U.S.?
Well, apparently NATO. You know, we're talking NATO's involved.
I don't think we should send troops over there.
No.
No troops over there. Just keep sending, artillery, weapons, money. You know, that's it.
Well, there's an argument about, Biden refuses to send F-16s. You know, he doesn't think that it's time to send F-16s. Where of course, Lindsey Graham.
When's the right time? Shoot, excuse me.
Yeah.
I mean, is the Army telling him not to send them? Or he just making a decision on his
No,
own?
he's made a decision. It's not time. And as a matter of fact, I was watching him on one of the Sunday shows, and they were asking him, what he thought, and he said, "No, I don't think we're in a position where we need to send them."
I agree with it.
Okay. The other thing, just real quick, y'all. If we reelect Biden by the end of his term, he's going to be 86 years old.
No, man. No.
Do you think age is an issue? Does it bother you?
It is.
It bothers you?
The dude almost 90.
And the Republicans are saying the Republicans are cold. They'll say anything and do anything. So they're like, a vote for Biden is a vote for Kamala. I mean,
they had what was that old man Strom Thurmond that was like 100 years old?
But he got to do some kind of mind test or something at 86 years old. Dude, no, sit down.
Well, what's the alternative? You always tell me, what's the alternative, bro?
We don't have one right now.
We got time. They better find somebody.
They better hurry up. We don't have that much time now.
2024.
You think
of course,
gonna make it out of? You think if he make it in at 86, you think he gonna finish it?
I don't know. We'll see. I'm just saying. I'm just asking the questions, man. Also, just real quick, I want to get into this. Fulton County, we didn't get a chance. Thank you, Syracuse Mike, for sending the headlines. But Fulton County, this whole situation with the election fraud case, the grand jury, it just looks like it's botched. The juror has been on running around like it's a reality show.
And she's a young girl too.
Yeah, she's
gonna get her 15 minutes. Trust me, she is getting her 15 minutes. Is she not?
They kick off the jury.
Is she
not?
is
running around like it's E. What's the entertainment?
She's running around like she on a reality show and she's the star of her own reality show.
Kick her off the jury. No,
she's off. I mean, that jury's done. They're gonna pick a new one. So she's done. It's just a matter. The judge has said that the jurors, I think they can talk about. It's limited what they can talk about, but they can still talk to the press. So she's doing within her parameters is allowed. Okay, the judge is allowing it.
No,
judge is allowing it. But anyway, do you think the case is compromised?
No,
based on what she's saying. I'm not going to play it. Okay, you don't think it's compromised?
No.
Okay, Tanya B, you think it's compromised?
Let me first say this. I believe, and it's very close to, but it's like at the end of the day, it's like, I wish she'd just be quiet because I don't care about her. Girl, go sit down and fold the laundry, okay?
Yeah,
really.
Yeah. She's out there like, just it's kind of embarrassing,
it's almost like she job hunting for a reality TV slot on like the Zeus network or some network that people don't have in their homes.
What was the Honey Boo Boo? What was the show? What was that?
Oh God, that's exactly like that. Probably Honey Boo Boo's cousin. So don't forget they're from Georgia. They're from Georgia too now.
So, they probably related to Honey Boo Boo.
Yeah,
All right,
she's
y'all.
Sugar
So
Boo Boo. Yeah.
I got to do this. I want to play this, and a lot of you guys have heard about. As a matter of fact, here's the deal: you can go to Castropolis.net. The People poll is there. Would love your comments and your feedback on most of the stuff we've talked about today. But I definitely want to get your feedback on Scott Adams, who's the creator of Dilbert, who just lost his mind. And I don't know, because when I first heard about it, I'm not a Dilbert fan. And quite frankly, one thing I did not know is that he had a show with Dilbert Cartoon on UPN, and they canceled it because UPN went in the black direction. Okay. So maybe he's still pissed off about the fact that he got replaced by Moesha, so maybe he's still a little pissed because of that. But here's the deal. I want y'all to hear, this is courtesy of TMZ. He has a podcast, and what's the name? I think it's Real Coffee with Scott. It's a weekly podcast he does on YouTube. He made this statement based on a Rasmussen poll, and he's going to talk about the poll within this conversation I'm going to play for you. I want you to listen to what he says, and we'll talk about it on the other side. Here we go.
Well, Rasmussen poll had a provocative little poll today. They said, do you agree or disagree with the statement, it's okay to be white? That was an actual question. Rasmussen asked, white and black voters, and probably others, do you disagree or agree with the statement, it's okay to be white? 26% of blacks said, no, it's not okay to be white. 21% weren't sure. Add them together, that is 47% of black respondents were not willing to say it's okay to be white. That's like a real poll. This just happened. Did you have any idea? Would you have imagined that could have happened? So I realized, as you know, I've been identifying as black for a while, years now, because I like to be on the winning team, and I like to help. And I always thought, well, if you help the black community, that's sort of the biggest lever. You can find the biggest benefit. So I thought, well, that's the hardest thing and the biggest benefit. So I'd like to focus a lot of my life resources in helping black Americans. So much so that I started identifying as black to just be on the team I was helping. But it turns out that nearly half of that team doesn't think I'm okay to be white, which is, of course, why I identified as black, so I could be on the winning team for a while. But I have to say, this is the first political poll that ever changed my activities. I don't know that that's ever happened before. Normally you see a poll, you just look at it, and you go, whatever. Oh, this is interesting what other people think. But as of today, I'm going to re-identify as white because I don't want to be a member of a hate group. I'd accidentally joined a hate group. So if nearly half of all blacks are not okay with white people, according to this poll, not according to me, according to this poll, that's a hate group. That's a hate group. And I don't want to have anything to do with them. And I would say, based on the current way things are going, the best advice I would give to white people is to get the hell away from black people. Just get the fuck away. Wherever you have to go, just get away. Because there's no fixing this. This can't be fixed. Right? This can't be fixed. You just have to escape. So that's what I did. I went to a neighborhood where, I have a very low black population. Because unfortunately, there's a high correlation between the density. And this is according to Don Lemon, by the way. So here I'm just quoting Don Lemon when he notes that when he lived in a mostly black neighborhood, there were a bunch of problems that he didn't see in white neighborhoods. So even Don Lemon sees a big difference in your own quality of living based on where you live and who's there. So I think it makes no sense whatsoever as a white citizen of America to try to help black citizens anymore. It doesn't make sense. It's no longer a rational impulse. And so I'm gonna back off from being helpful to black America because it doesn't seem like it pays off.
You do that.
Like I've been doing it all my life, and the only outcome is I get called a racist. That's the only outcome. It makes no sense to help black Americans if you're white. it's over. Don't even think it's worth trying.
First of all, about 72 magazines, newspapers across the country dropped his ass after he said that.
Drop him.
And second of all, he needs mental help. I mean, there needs to be a mental evaluation of this guy. Thirdly, does anybody, I had never heard his name, in terms of any, is there a Scott Adams NAACP fund that?
Yeah, him and Rachel Dolezal. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. What have you done for Black people? All right, so
why didn't he tell us what he had done?
That's what I'm
right. Oh, Trump said the same thing. He couldn't quantify. But let me just say this: this man did not just wake up and have this opinion. Trust me, he's been feeling this way for quite some time, and he just said it. So this is nothing new.
Yeah, as I say, Tanya B, he said the quiet part out loud that he's in his head. Go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Just say you need to go get Peanut and then need to go yoke his ass up. That's all there is to it.
He had the nerve to call us a hate group. Do you know what a hate group does?
Dude, let me tell you.
Hate group was the insurrection of January 6th. That was a hate group. That was inciting hate and a riot. You know what?
White folk, hanging white folk. We ain't doing that.
Can we cancel him? Can we please just cancel
him?
Let
me say this. First, I got a problem with Rasmussen. And I definitely, I'm familiar with Rasmussen and their presidential poll, all their polling. And why would you even do a fucking poll like this? You know what I mean? Why would you even put that hornet's nest? I know a lot of this has to do with the quote unquote, again, white people fucking with woke. It's their thing right now. That's their thing. So, it's all about this quote unquote woke culture that they're trying to actually get a handle on by doing polling on it. But I'm here to tell you, whatever decision people make regarding whether or not how they support this guy. First of all, he's a MAGA supporter, and I don't think a lot of people knew that in advance. He's pro-Trump. He doesn't, but so in a lot of cases, he's out there having this conversation on his show as if he's been helping Black people for years. And again, he is the United Negro College Fund, and most people, if you said his name, they'd say Scott who.
Right.
Right?
Who is that? Yeah, I didn't know his name. I've heard of Dilbert. I've heard of the
They barely know Dilbert.
I never read it. It wasn't like he was Odie and Garfield.
Explain.
Go ahead, Brian.
How does white man identify as Black?
Rachel Dolezal. Ask Rachel Dolezal. I'm telling you, he read the Rachel Dolezal book.
Bizarre.
Look at this man. Said, dude, how you white?
It's bizarre.
Look at Nikki Haley and her 1/8 of
it's bizarre. It's bizarre. It's bizarre.
Ooh,
I just wanted to play that. I'd love your feedback. Go to castropolis.net. Love your feedback on that. You can leave a message on the People Poll. You can go to our social media. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Would love your feedback on that. It's just bizarre. I listened to it, and if he were actually out there like that, you know what I mean? In name, and people know he's giving. And you know what? He might have receipts. He might come back and say, here are the receipts. But still, I'll leave it at that. Y'all,
you still can't see that. What kind of receipts you got?
Got no damn receipts.
What the hell? All right, let's do this. Let's go ahead. Let's take a quick break. And we'll come back and do something joyful with the tea. How about that?
Oh, yes. I need some humor and a benediction.
All right. So here we go.
All right.
The Harold Michael Harvey Book Collection is a collection of books about civil rights in America, told through the eyes of people who envisioned it and fought for it in the days when hope unborn had died. And now is the time to step up your reading game with books that goes inside the issues. As the Negro National Anthem puts it, that with a steady beat has brought our weary feet to the place from which our fathers sighed. The Harold Michael Harvey Book Collection will prepare you for a meaningful discussion of Black history with an eye towards a Black future. The collection includes Justice in the Round, Freaknik Lawyer, The Duke of 18th and Vine, and My C.T. Vivian Story. Books are available at haroldmichaelharvey.com.
It is, say the quiet part out loud, season for these people. That's all I got to say. Here we go.
Now then, children, it's time for tea.
It's tea time, y'all. Sipping the tea with Tanya B.
Tanya B, take us away. What you got?
All right, well, this is why that boy, what's his name, is mad. Okay, first I want to say this was the year of the Night of Black Excellence. Angela Bassett, Abbott Elementary. Beyonce now has 25 NAACP Image Awards. It was great to see Brittany Griner, the best man. Will Smith, the only entity that recognized emancipation, and he was a damn no-show. But it was great just to, we expected, the Black excellence that we saw without Anthony Anderson hosting. And I guess Dilbert is mad because all Viacom channels, including Country Music Television, had to air the Image Awards last night. Okay.
But you know what? Let me say this.
Say it.
Viacom was rude as hell. Paramount, the way they cut the speakers off, the way
like
they were running the damn credits over Angela Bassett at the end of the show. I'm like, what are y'all doing? It was just rude. I mean, what y'all that hungry to get to Miss Pat to Miss Pat show?
And get back to CMT Live on a Saturday night. Yes.
They were really rude. And it was just so noticeable the way they were cutting people off. But go ahead. I digress.
Okay. That was it. I just had to, give the people a dap. Let's talk about, it's not Rihanna, it's Rihanna. She and A$AP Rocky, as they prepare for baby number 2, they're also planning a summer wedding in her home of Barbados. And one thing about Rihanna is like she's just a quiet giant. She does not have to work another day in her life. She has surpassed every artist as a top-selling artist, like worldwide of all time. But I just want to say, what in the entire hell are these 100 plus complaints about her Super Bowl halftime performance being called demonic and saying it was over sexualized? The woman is like 7 months pregnant. She can't get out there. She's not, twerking. So they need to go sit down because, 118 million people watched her perform, and that was more than
how many complaints? How many complaints? 100?
Last I saw was 103.
Oh, please. Come on. That's minuscule compared to the number.
There's 1%, yeah. So
I just 1%.
Right, exactly.
0.0. Go ahead.
So I guess
0.0%. But go ahead.
Her last performance prior to having baby number 2 will be her performance at the Oscars of her nominated song "Lift Me Up" from Black Panther 2: Wakanda Forever, and that will be on March 12th. So by that time, she should probably be a good. It's just like in about 2 weeks, but she'll be at least another. She can already have that baby for Easter. Okay. So I'll leave it like that. Okay, one thing I want to talk to you about, I love a good documentary, and there's one coming to HBO in May, Donna Summer documentary representing Boston, hey, my hometown. It's called Love to Love You. It is co-produced by her daughter, Brooklyn, and it really addresses a lot of things that were kind of those things you did not talk about, especially back then, like, in the 70s and 80s. Her struggle with her deep faith and this, the shady side of the music business. Her father, Reverend Gaines, is very well known in Boston back at home. And it talks about how pretty much at the height of her career, she was suicidal and that she was molested as a child by a church leader. So she really, didn't have the easiest life, and she had to leave the country to get work. And, one thing about Donna Summer, she was a very underrated, just not an artist as in, singing and writing and producing, but I mean, in terms of, painting, she had a lot of great art showings and did a lot of great artwork. So I'm looking forward to that.
But one thing, her mom, she moved her mom to Atlanta, apparently. And I had an opportunity because she went to, I think her last record label was Atlantic Records.
Yes.
I think she had a song on Atlantic. And
I got my finger on the trigger, Love's in Control.
No. This was beyond that, after that. Toward the end of her career. It wasn't a big record. It wasn't a big record. But I talked to her on the phone. I was in Atlanta, and she was telling me her mom was in Ben Hill because her mom lived in the Ben Hill area of Atlanta. So, but she was very cool. And I told her, I said, Don, I had a crush on you.
Who didn't? Who didn't?
She started laughing.
Who didn't have a crush on her?
So, but anyway, I mean, she was very cool. You could hear the Boston, she's very much a Boston girl. So, I look forward to it. I guess the biggest complaint from some of the reviewers is that they don't spend a lot of time talking about the music, but we kind of know what the music is. People want to know behind the scenes. So I'm glad they spent more time talking about her life, because really people don't really get to know. And her daughter, you mentioned her daughter,
Brooklyn, one of her Brooklyn
was part of this,
executive co-producer. Yes, exactly.
So a lot of these posthumously done docs are kind to the legacy. So I'm glad to see that they did something for her, because she was a good lady. What else you got next? I'm sorry.
At age 48.
I had to get it in. I had to get it in.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Okay, at age 48, Grammy-nominated rapper Da Brat, after suffering a miscarriage, she is now expecting a baby with her wife, Judy. It's their first baby together. They use an anonymous sperm donor. And of course, everybody's like, "Oh, it's Jermaine Dupri, it's Jermaine Dupri."
No, I'm just joking. Just kidding.
You know what?
I'm just joking.
Tigger ain't trying to settle down. But Da Brat had an embryo transfer, and she had a lot of other, she had fibroids, and she had a lot of things. She had a lot of surgical procedures and some fertility issues. You know what? Okay, let me. I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian. You can follow her pregnancy journey on their reality TV show, Judy Loves Brat. And Judy actually has 3 children from previous relationships, and we just wish them the best. They can afford to do a lot of things to have children that the average person cannot afford. So, you have to, just take that into account.
Janet had her baby at what age? 50?
53. But again, she had the money to go sit down and do what she needed to do.
It's a tough journey, man. Even in your 40s. Wow, yeah. 48.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway,
what else you got?
There was a time when I think in the early 2000s that Nelly and Ashanti were the golden couple of hip hop and R&B, and then he messed up. They broke up. He was out there tootsie rolling with the strippers, popping out babies, and then he went and got Floyd Mayweather's leftovers, as in his girlfriend, Miss Jackson, and now she and Nelly have broken up. I wonder who her next victim is going to be. But Nelly don't claim anybody. But the word is that the two, after all these years, have gotten back together. And you got to think about this. Ashanti never really had a long-term relationship with anybody after Nelly, and Irv Gotti does not count because Irv Gotti just saw her as a side piece. So you know what? I mean, wow. I think there may be some touring going on. It would be cool to see them, collaborate, because they both could use a hit record. And I think if they don't collaborate and tour, I think they will probably go to reality TV.
Well, cool. That'd be good. I'm happy for her. And I'm happy for both of them.
Yeah. And lastly, I want to tell you about, everybody's favorite. Beyonce is Beyonce, but Kelly Rowland just continues to prove that Destiny's Child is not the only thing, on her resume. She has a lot of things. She's more popular outside this country than in, as is the case with a lot of artists, and it's really a shame. But there was a time when she was actually more popular outside of this country than Beyonce, believe it or not. And she's got the commercials. She, had some other business entities, and she's doing a lot of acting. And now she has joined Team Tyler Perry. This new film coming to Netflix called Mea Culpa stars Kelly. And Trevante Rhodes, who played Mike Tyson in that Hulu miniseries that nobody watched. But anyway, it's about an attorney who's defending an artist who's accused of murder. One thing about, I gotta say, Tyler Perry, is kind of walking the walk in that he's giving Kelly producer credit on this film. So she's going to be producing her first film, and he is a writer, director, and executive producer. So I'm looking forward to that.
Good stuff.
Kelly's like, she's a girl. You like Kelly. You never really heard no real scandal about her or anything like that. She, goes to work, raises her family. You don't hear about her or her husband, Tim, falling out the clubs or, having side babies and doing the neo and whatnot. So, yeah.
Good stuff. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, Kelly, we talked about the situation where the guy on the radio tried to call Kelly out about her.
Oh no, she chin checked him. She chin checked him. She was so smooth. She should get an Image Award for doing that. Shoot.
Yeah, she carries herself well. I like the way I'll give it up for her.
And one more thing, remember 3/3/23, Michael B. Jordan directing his first film, Creed 3 hits the big screen with Jonathan Major.
Good stuff. I just got something real quick. Here we go.
What you watching this week, Tommy B?
Hey, I gotta say, and you talked about the Image Awards. Angela Bassett and Beyonce won 3. Chris Brown, Quentin Brunson, Ryan Coogler won 2. Black Panther won Outstanding Motion Picture. Abbott Elementary, Outstanding Comedy. But I didn't know Kendrick Lamar and Drake got snubbed. They got 0. And as you mentioned, the big surprise was Will Smith getting the actor award, which I saw it. I was going back and forth. I turned back on. I saw his picture on the screen. I'm like, what they give Will? Wow, they gave it to him for Emancipation, which was actually a good touch because he's not going to get it anywhere else. So
but of all, look, Ben Crump was there, so Will should have been there like he was down at that school claiming he gave them $10 million with Ben chasing ass Crump. He should have been there too.
All right. Hey, congratulations to my favorite director, Gina Prince Bythewood. And she was surprised because she won Best Director over Ryan Coogler. A lot of people expected to be a sweep for Wakanda Forever, but she stepped in and won it for the Woman King. So good stuff. Good stuff.
And she deserved it. She deserved it. No shade to Ryan, but she deserved it. So give her flowers.
But we really do, in these days and time, need the NAACP awards. It offers balance and it gives, a lot of our creatives rewards that they don't typically get in a lot of mainstream award shows. So I was excited about it. The other thing, and I want to talk to you about this. Have you watched Harlem yet? The whole thing?
I did.
Okay, so you watched the season finale, 7 and 8.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna give you all the tease if you hadn't had a chance to see it.
Spoiler alert? Is this spoiler alert?
Kind of, but not the whole thing. But Angie, a massive life decision is coming up, which they left they left a cliffhanger for Angie. It is a massive
cliffhangers.
Well, there were a couple. This was one, but the bike, her on the bike was a massive life decision. One of the girls is about to start buying diapers. That was a massive life decision and cliffhanger that they didn't clear up. So I really have to give it to them. I think they resolved a lot of the issues we had with the show at the beginning of season 2. It calmed down. Mm-hmm. Well, it wasn't just Angie. Even I think with Camille and Ty and Quinn. I think they're all settling. And I don't know if it seems to me almost like the 3rd season might be the final season. I think they may only do 3 seasons of this. I don't see, because this is probably the redemption and the end for season number 3. I don't see it going beyond that, but we'll see. I thought it was good. What did you think about season 2 compared to 1?
I did like that they made it a bit more real, because that first season, I'm like, I don't know if I can watch season 2. And just real time. I like real time problems. I give them credit for injecting the issue with Quinn with not just her sexuality, but with the mental health piece.
And
absolutely. How her mother told her, it runs in your dad's family. You never knew that. This is where it comes from, and blah blah blah. Although Jasmine Guy, with her main goal that season was to go get her face lifted, which she probably need to do. But you know what another cliffhanger is going to be?
What's that?
Ty sleeping with the mother and the daughter.
See, that was crazy.
Yes,
that was crazy. Rachel True, who is from Craft,
Half and Half, and
going back, Cosby, The Craft. Mm-hmm. I didn't see that coming, but damn, I didn't see that. But you're right. I mean, spoiler alert if you hadn't seen it, but that was crazy. I'll leave it at that. The other thing, just real quick, if you watch Power Book 2, Ghost, it returns on March 17th. Apparently, Wendy Williams is working on a reportedly they call a very homemade reality show.
Yeah, using the phone, but nobody cares.
It's supposed to be coming. We'll see. And she doesn't look mentally there, which is interesting. She doesn't
look well, because for somebody to be as tall as she is and only weigh 138 pounds.
Yeah. She doesn't look all there. She has that. She has. I mean, honestly, and I'll be. I don't mean this to be funny. It's almost like what Bruce Willis is going through. She's not really there.
There was some talk about her having early onset dementia, and that was kind of squashed. But there is
Bruce
something
started
going
with aphasia, and
Yeah.
It kind of, went into
Quickly.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Went into
Quickly.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So also we didn't mention Judge Mathis is now leaving because he's been canceled on Warner Brothers, but he'll be Byron Allen has picked him up. So gotta give it to Judge Mathis for those George Judge Mathis fans. And Netflix is announcing that they're doing a reduced subscription fee in lower income regions. Now, I don't think that means the US.
But here's the thing. Now, you said lower income regions. They talking about black zip codes?
I don't know. I mean, I think they mean internationally. That hasn't been clarified, but they're supposedly going to be offering reduced subscription fees in some lower income regions. So we'll see.
Let me tell you something.
All right. One last thing, y'all, and I want to talk about this as part of the leftovers. And I when we were doing the show last week, the BAFTAs were on. If you're not familiar with the BAFTAs, that's the British Academy of Film and Television Arts. And producer of the show, the guy who really does the great job at making the show sound great when we're finished with it, Millennial Nick kept shooting me the winners, because it was mostly white. Typically, we'll get a few, black winners in there, Spike, but the thing that really came out of that was Ariana DeBose and her rap about women that went viral. And let me play it. I don't know if you heard it. Let's go ahead and play it for folks who might not have heard it. This is courtesy of the BBC, BAFTAs. It's all over Twitter, all over social media. If you hadn't had a chance to see it,
better call Lin-Manuel Miranda.
But here we go.
Candy pal without fellowship. Costume queen, can you fix this zip? Alpha ladies in the room, supporting and leading, all here I presume. Hometown, Dolly D. Carrie and Carrie with the C. Dame Emma, I'm so fond. Anna girl, you look great and blonde. Danielle D, you broke my heart. Michelle, I've loved you from the start. Angela Bassett did the thing. Viola Davis, my woman king. Blanche Kate, you're a genius. And Jamie Lee, you are all of us. One of us is here alone.
Yeah, boy. It got so bad. Vi, you shaking your head, but it got so bad that she actually deleted her Twitter account because they were skewering her. The guy in charge of the BAFTAs resigned. You heard about that, right? But he was in defense. He was all out in defense, and toward the end, he eventually, one of the guys in charge of the whole, putting it together resigned. But this is how she explained it, and she was on BBC, and this is courtesy of E. She was on the BBC, and this is how she explained it.
It was a woman singing and dancing, being magnificent, celebrating women on a stage. Come on.
That's what I wanted to do. It's like, honestly, it's not like I was like, hey, BAFTA, let me in. They actually called me, believe it or not. But that was the assignment. Like, come celebrate women. And I was like, absolutely.
Yay.
And we did that. And it was.
Yeah. So she did the thing. And the big meme that came out of this was Angela Bassett did the thing. So last night, if you were watching at the end, when they were rolling damn credits over Angela Bassett.
Over her face, right? Over her face.
But toward the end, this is what Angela Bassett had to say when she accepted that big award at the end.
Yeah! I guess Angela Bassett did the thing.
But it was all in fun toward the end. She said, Angela Bassett said she called Ariana, she called her up and said, hey, are you okay? Because a lot of people were concerned, that she wasn't handling it well after she deactivated her Twitter account. But Twitter, Twitter is. Twitter's hard.
Let's all come on Twitter. I know, I don't do Twitter, so.
Twitter goes hard in the paint. That's all I got to say in 120 characters. But that's if you're wondering, God, what is this? Angela Bassett did the thing. That's where it came from. It came from BAFTA. So the other thing is, I just got to say, man, Viacom, Paramount, y'all got to do better with these awards. I understand it was on multiple outlets, but damn, y'all got to do better, man, than just cut people off like that. So, last minute, just a couple of things, and want to thank Howie for coming in and talking
Howie.
to us. So I let me give it. I'm gonna give Howie. Can I give Howie this?
Like blah, blah, blah.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yes,
No,
you
I'm gonna give
can.
Howie that. If I say no, don't do that. But the Atlanta radio, man, going after Trey, I thought was just horrendous. And I got, when when a guy's performance is not going well, you want to beat him up as a player. But when you question somebody's leadership and you're really not in the locker room, or you're not dealing with the guy on a daily basis, and all it is rumor and innuendo, in my opinion, it's just a wrong thing to do. And I just, it was so disappointing to me that these guys were almost like questioning your manhood. But my whole point is, and you and I were talking about this, we play sports, and not all, the guy who always scores the most and contributes the most statistically is not always the leader on the team. That's just the way it is. You can't expect a guy who, it's just like if you're in sales and you got sales people, sometimes the biggest contributor is not always the leader in the crew. Okay. So you have people who lead who may not be the biggest contributors, but they contribute, and that's their leadership. His leadership he's number 2 when it comes down to assist in the NBA. And he typically is either top 10, and he's either 10 or 11 when it comes down to scoring. And I will say this, the 3-point shooting is off for the entire team. It's not just him, the entire team. They're kind of getting it together. We'll see how it does, but the leadership should come from where it's coming from now. Landry Field made the decision. He made the decision. He's taken responsibility for making the decision on Nate. Trey stepped away from it, which I think was a smart thing to do. And bottom line is, it's not his team. It's the wrestlers' team. They own that team. You go ahead, Tanya B. You were about to say.
I just say, sometimes less is more. And I actually commend Trey Young, and he is young,
He's
but
24. He's 24.
But for not being reactive to those two morons over there on the air, who we would like to believe are much more mature. That was like, they made like a high school dig at him. And I just expected more from those guys. And they are so not a G. I don't even know what their names are. Dumb and
But
Dumber.
you know what? I know them, and I don't know. I know their names, but I'll say this. I mean, I get it that it's a ratings thing, and you want to create drama, but don't be the story.
There's a way to do it.
Talk about the story.
There's a way to do it.
And I will say this: the guy's 24 years old. You don't hear like a lot of stuff about him in negative. Outside of maybe there are a few stories that people, they want to point to the fact the guy makes $200 million. He's got a $200 million contract. You know what I want to see as a fan is what he does on the court. And I want to see him in the community, which he does. He's out in the community. He has a foundation in the community. So ultimately I want to see him. I want to see him fix his 3-point shooting. I'm not concerned about it. Hey, everything else is cool, but bro, you got to hit the 3-pointers. But my point is this, and I'll go back to what really matters, is that questioning his leadership at this point, really and truly, this is a Landry Fields and a wrestler family situation. They're dealing with it. They got a new coach coming. So let's move on. Yeah, go ahead, Tanya B. You were about to say something.
No, I just think, it's like, don't expect it. And see, he's I believe the kind of young man, who, doesn't want to be all up in the video, if you will. He's not doing like the puffy. No. And from what I understand, he does do a lot of community work, but he does it quietly and anonymously. And sometimes less is more. People give him, the side eye for not doing, not what they don't visibly see as enough. But I'm saying he's doing things. And I think, again, with him having, he's like in leadership training, if you will. Does that make sense?
He's 24. And I will tell you, eventually he'll have it. Eventually he'll have it.
Think about what you did when you were 24. I know I was out there tootsie rolling and partying with my fake ID. Okay. I was up in the club with my fake ID.
$200 million contract at 24. That's all I got to say.
Have fun.
I love the connection with him and his dad, and I give his dad 5 on it for telling him, you mess with my son. You ain't going to jail. I'm going to jail because I'm going to come up there and yoke both of y'all up. He'll be up there in Colony Square, and Rick Cappy can't do nothing about that.
That's what I'm saying. But you know what? I'll leave it at this, and we'll move on because a couple of more things.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Accountability definitely. But ultimately, the ownership, because they could trade him tomorrow. They could make a decision on trade, and I'm not advocating that. But as a player, you're here today, gone tomorrow. You got to do.
It's a temp job. It's like a temp job. Would you agree?
Yeah, you absolutely. I mean, you're here today, gone tomorrow. You're only as good as your last game. That's it. And the fans don't want to hear that or believe that, but that's the way it is. You remember that last game, how well they played, and that's how you position them. The other thing is, I want to say to my folks in Macon, these are some crazy stats. Syracuse Mike, and we didn't put this in the news. Do you and shout out to Middle Georgia, but damn, they got to fix this. Someone commits a violent crime in Macon-Bibb every 2 hours. In this small, yes. Property crime is committed every 55 minutes. Somebody got to, yes, they got to fix that. The city's too small. And honestly, it's time for a new sheriff. They got to make.
I was gonna say, what's the law enforcement climate?
Same. You've been recycling the same people for years.
Like Victor Hill. Okay.
I'm not comparing the two, but I will say it's time for a change. When you got situations like that, you got to come on, y'all. So the mayor's up for re-election. Lester, time for re-election. Might be time to, call him on the carpet. That's ridiculous. Every few hours, you got a violent crime. Every hour, there's crime committed on a property. That's crazy. Also, I got and I've been hard on Nikki Haley and your boy Tim Scott in South Carolina. I've been hard on South Carolina, but here's the deal. I want to shout out South Carolina for the women's basketball team. Dawn Staley.
Yes,
killing it.
In the house.
Killing
God.
It. Dawn Staley, they are 28-0. They've won 30. They won 30. I was saying.
You need to go to the hospital.
I don't care, black, white, female, we don't care. But she's 28-0. They've won 35 in a row. And they've won 41 games in a row on their home court. Wow. You got to give it up to the Lady Gamecocks and Dawn Staley, head coach. They are fun to watch. That's the good thing coming out of South Carolina. So I'm going to be good to South Carolina this week, y'all. Dawn Staley just doing her thing. I love her too, man. She's just hard. Yeah. She goes hard in the paint.
She goes hard.
Talk about her girls. Somebody called her girl called them thugs, man. Somebody, somebody wanted to call. They play like.
Do they know where she's from in Philly? Where she comes from in Philly? I know she did, but
she does not play.
But at the same time, she is not splitting her verbs. She can conjugate a verb, and I actually like to listen to her talk because she makes sense. Don't mess with her. Don't mess with Dawn.
Dawn Staley is probably, in my opinion, she could coach an NBA team easily.
Yeah, she's picked up the baton. What's that lady, Pat, whatever her name was, that other lady
from Tennessee
that passed away?
Yeah. But women's basketball, NCAA basketball is just these days a joy to watch.
More entertaining. Can we all agree? It's more entertaining
I
than
agree.
the NBA All-Star game.
Definitely. All right, y'all. Hey, any final thoughts, Tanya B, and we'll wrap it.
I just want to say, as we come out of Black History Month and we move into National Women's History Month, I just want to make sure, and I'll commit to it on the Bird Wire for the month of March, just to spotlight women, like the Dawn Staleys and that sister in Virginia, who are still, we're not just this short month. We Black History 365, and also just want to say rest in peace to Lo Jelks, the first Black news anchor in Atlanta who just passed away. He is Black History as well.
Absolutely. Give it to him. Good stuff. Val, you got anything before you do the benediction, bro?
No, I haven't things for today, bro.
Oh, man. Because your son there. Is your son there yet? Is he cooking for you?
No, I'm doing the grilling.
Well, where is he? Come on in the back.
Oh, man.
They want to see you.
Oh, okay. Oh, no. Before we do benediction, we get to see Bo. So might as well.
No, we get to hear Bo. But anyway.
All right, you ready, man? You ready? There he is. That Junior. What it is, man.
Oh, that's your mini me, Vi, for real.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, man. Hey, man, tell him don't be cooking no bad burgers.
I'm cooking. He's not cooking.
Yeah, he needs to say that to you. Don't be cooking no bad burgers. So.
I can throw that.
All right. Are you ready? You ready, man? You ready?
I am ready.
Here we go.
You know, I didn't come here to preach to you today.
Here's your inspirational moment with Vi.
Let's see how you do with your son standing over your shoulder. Go ahead.
All sin make us sinners, and all sin cut us off from our holy God. All sin therefore leads to death, because it disqualifies us from living with God. Regardless how great or small it seems, don't minimize little sins, overrate big sins. They're all separated from God, but they all can be forgiven. Romans 3:22-24. Everyone has sinned. We all fall short of God's glorious standard. Yet God, in his grace, freely make us right in his sight. He did this through Christ Jesus, and he freed us from the penalty of our sin. In other words, people, none of us is perfect because we're not Jesus. So, hey, all sins are the same. Big sin, little sin. So don't be judging nobody. We all sin. Amen. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you,
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Appreciate you, Vi. Man, thank you so much. Tanya B, appreciate you.
Yeah.
And again, y'all, make sure to go to castropolis.net. Love your feedback. We talked about a lot of stuff today. We definitely love your feedback. Appreciate you, Howie, man. Thank you so much. And for that, y'all, episode 165 is in the can. We are out of here. Peace and power to the people. Y'all have a great week. We'll see you. Peace.
Fight the power. Fight the power.
23 for 3.